Good
Good morning.
morning.
Welcome to Coffee with the Pastors on this Friday.
Yep, interview Friday.
Getting people to Nova. Well, today it's getting Audrey and me to Nova. I'm doing it again. Audrey tells me that it's really obvious that the coffee is gone by the time we film these Coffee with the Pastors.
Tim doesn't know how to not speak with his hands, and so he's like flinging coffee everywhere.
Just a prop. Both cups of coffee are always gone by 9 o'clock. um, and I better cut myself off at 2, otherwise I'll get the jitters. So.
Yeah, and then it's just you don't want to be around him.
Anyway, so we thought we'd interview each other today. It's been a while since we did that. You can hear some of our reflections. Um, Again, we did this at the beginning and kind of launched into interviewing so many of our colleagues, asking them about what they love about pastoral ministry and special things going on in their contexts. Well, so we decided let's check back in and um, just ask the simple question of so what have been the significant moments of the last 6 months, especially those moments where God is showing up in special, significant ways in ministry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, um, am I allowed to say both ministry related and personal?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. So it's twofold, I think. The first one that came to my mind was a couple weeks ago when we had our first in-person outdoor Vespers. Had everyone scattered around the parking lot, socially distanced. We went through a lot of effort to make sure everything was safe, but there was a clear longing to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was I was on Anita duty during that. So I was wandering around trying to keep her somewhat quiet so everyone else could experience Vespers. So I didn't get to actually experience much of the actual service. Um, but what I did get to do is kind of lurk behind the scenes and watch people as they experience the service. And then the distanced fellowship time that people got to have in the parking lot before and after was just, you could tell just in people's demeanor, um, in you know even if you're wearing a mask, your eyes crinkle when you're smiling, right? And so I could see all the smiles happening behind the masks, the laughter. um, yeah, it was just, even though it wasn't necessarily a structured worshipful experience for me because of being distracted. Speaking of distraction, um, it still was worshipful in that I think God is honored when God's people gather and then enjoy each other's company. Um, so along that kind of on the personal side, yeah, we've spoken in several occasions that sometimes being parent and being pastor at the same time can be a little difficult. Um, but then there are other times where we might be doing something and we just have a really great family moment together, and it makes me realize that we may not you know some moments may be really hard, but then there are other times where we are experiencing things together that we wouldn't be if we weren't together all the time. um, and for instance, a shout out to Debbie Seidel, who sent home um, packets for all the families for kids to be able to do with faith formation, and she included the youngest ones, sent home materials, um, and we've been doing faith formation with Anita, and that's been a blast. She really enjoys the materials, and she's engaging it.
She learned that God is good.
Yeah, she's learning sign language. um, so that's been fun. That's my long answer.
Yeah. Hey. Dog's getting into things. I would say one of the most surprising moments was when we started back into adult faith formation in, was that June? And Missy Gallahue, I'll give a shout out to you. You wanted to read this book from the author we missed hearing from at annual conference, Todd Bolsinger. And when you initially picked the book, I was thinking, oh man, these church folks, they're going to be bored out of their mind reading this churchy book that's probably on the shelves of some seminarian studying missiology, and nobody's going to get this. And it was such fruitful conversation and strategic conversation and hope-filled conversation among some core leaders in this church, and it was enriching for me to be reminded that okay, there are going to be moments um, for leaders in the church during this time to sit back, reflect, think deeply about this structure and this organization that has so much potential and promise, and I got a glimpse into some folks who are willing to do some imagining, um, according to what God's hopes for us might be, and that was encouraging to me. It pushed me to get back to these yearly themes that Audrey and I love to do, to give some focus to our year, and got us into a new yearly theme, with this um, connection being one of those themes that the deacons are running with, keeping us connected to one another, which is um, such an important thing when we are together. It's easy. When we're not together, it's certainly harder, and we are at risk of losing some of those connections with each other. Mm-hmm. And then the other piece is this more strategic, discerning component, which is the next faithful step. What's the next thing for the Oakton Church of the Brethren? And that's something we will be discerning at this whole year, and the board is holding that conversation right now, and it'll kind of move along from there. So those are conversations that I really enjoy anyway, and had some rejuvenating, I think, along the way during this time. So definitely God showing up there. Mm-hmm. So think about the moments God has showed up for you in the last several months, even the last couple days, weeks, and tell those stories. We need to be telling those stories right now. Mm-hmm. Be reminded that movement's happening. The Spirit is all around. Mm-hmm. Have a great day. Mm-hmm.